All right, the last piece I want to give you here is how to really crush it. If you want to accelerate this process in the slightest, here's the key to accelerating the compound effect. So I learned this when I first got started in real estate. As I told you, I started when I was 20 years of age. I went to a seminar, another theme you're probably picking up here, and I got a chance to take the seminar leader out to lunch. And I sat there, 20 years old, I said, eager to learn, I said, what's the key to being successful? I asked the question, all of you asked me. I said, what's the key to being successful? And his answer was, go fail. I was like, dude, I thought the whole idea of success was avoiding failure. And he said, it's exactly the opposite. The thing you need to do to succeed is you need to go fail. And you need to go fail a lot. And then he gave me this line by the president of IBM, Thomas Watson, who said, the key to success is massive failure. I mean, just think about that logically for a second, intellectually. The key to success is massive failure. And he could see that I still wasn't getting it. So he took a little napkin and he wrote out this analogy for me that I now pass on to you because it has meant huge victories in my own life personally. So he said, look, life is like a pendulum. And on one side of the pendulum is joy, love, happiness, victory, success. And on the other side of the pendulum is pain, rejection, sadness, and defeat. And he said, if you just stand still, you won't experience any defeat, pain, or sadness, but you also won't experience any joy, love, or happiness, and you'll have to live under a bridge. So here's what most people do. They find this little comfort zone, this little space where they become comfortable. They're only willing to experience so much pain, so much rejection, so much sadness, and thus the pendulum only swings in equal proportion on the other side of success, victory, and results. And they just sort of sit here wondering why they can't become more successful. And he said the interesting thing is you can't push the pendulum on the side of success. He must have been to a Jim Rohn seminar. You can't push it on the side of success, but you can push it on the side of defeat, on the side of failure, on the side of rejection, which is the reason why you want to push the pendulum on the side of failure, rejection, and defeat as much as possible, because it works like a pendulum. It will swing on the other side. So I took it by sheer faith, and I went and I pushed the pendulum on the side of failure and rejection when I was in real estate. So 20 years of age, I had no business being in the business of real estate, trust me. But I said, where can I go get as much pain, rejection, fear, and sadness as fast as possible? So if you're in real estate, you know that there's this thing called expired listings. These are people who had their house on the market with another agent. It didn't sell. It comes up on the multiple listing services at 6 a.m. and 300 agents call the home immediately that morning. After about the third or fourth call, they're just pissed off. Lots of pain, rejection, and sadness to be had there. Then when you're done with all those, you end up calling on for sale by owners. These are people who hate realtors so much they wouldn't even think of listing with a realtor. Knock on those doors, lots of pain, rejection, and sadness to be had there. When I was done with that, I would just take my car, park it at the end of the block in a white shirt and a tie, go door to door. Like, people love that, right? So I'd knock on the door. Do you plan on buying or selling real estate? Slam, kids throwing rocks at you from across the street. I would take a little notepad, 50 check marks on it. And I wouldn't allow myself to get back in the car until I had all check marks on the pad. So now every time somebody rejected me, I was delighted. Why? It was one check mark closer to getting back in the damn car and being done with it. And then I'd go home and it was 5 to 9 is money time. Right? That's when you can catch people at home because they're in the middle of dinner. So you cold call them, right? Lots of pain and rejection and sadness to be had there. And I would strap myself, glass of water, not allow myself to get up, and I had to get 50 check marks there before I'd allow myself to get done. I pushed the pendulum so far on the side of pain, rejection, and sadness, it was incredible. It also swung in equal proportion on the other side. In 90 days, 20 years of age, it was an office of 44 agents. I was outselling the entire office combined. There were more listings and more escrows than the entire office combined. Now, I don't say that to say anything about me. I say it to say about this principle. When you can take this idea of failure and fear and not just embrace it or accept it as part of the process, but actually love it, like go after it, like seek it, it's powerful. The floodgates come off. Not to be crude, but just to give you an example. When I was single, I used this principle. So you go into a bar with a few buddies. The last thing a buddy wants to do is get blown away by a girl in front of his buddies, right? So everybody's like hanging on the board, testing it out with a look. I'd go in and say, I'm going to get 10 no's and then I'm out of here. And I'd walk in and be like, hey, what do you think? Just trying to get a number here, right? And no. And it's like just getting blown out and rejected, and I'm getting fired up, and then he finally gets like, oh yeah, got one. Victory. I mean, instead of shirking from it, instead of trying to be tentative, right, about it, when you actually go and seek it, all the power that failure, rejection, and defeat has is gone. And now you actually own all the power. I mean, this is a powerful concept. So it ends up becoming a new comfort zone. So to this day, if I ever get to the end of the month and I did not experience some defeat, some rejection, some embarrassment, some sadness along the way, I am mad at myself. Why? Because I want more success. What's the key to it? Thomas Watson told you. What is it? Massive failure. So if I'm not failing, I'm not swinging the pendulum to greater success. I encourage you to do the same thing. Take your goals. Instead of the number of yes clients you can get, turn them into the number of clients you can get to say no. Right? Instead of the number of sales you make, the number of people that you get in front of that reject you. Like, start quantifying that number and seek it out, and the power of trying to accept that as part of the process will dissipate, and you will come out on top. It's a powerful concept. Learn to love failure. And once you embrace that as part of your power, I'm telling you, Katie, bar the door. I got a chance to spend some time with Michael Jordan, and this is what he said about, I said, what is the key to your success? Why do you think you were a greater player than anybody in your time, maybe ever? And this was his answer, and I'll show you through a video of what he said.
I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed.
The key to his success was his ability to accept and pursue failure. To be dependent upon, to take the game-winning shot, and to miss was the key to his great success. It is the key to your great success as well. Celebrate your failures. Track your rejections. Add up and declare your defeats, because when you actually seek that as part of your metric for your progress, it will become your great power. Here's another fantastic failure. I mean, this guy has done some public doozies, right? He had dyslexia. Remember Virgin Cola, where he came out on a tank on Madison Avenue? He was going to take over the cola industry? Failure. Or how about Virgin Brides, where he dressed in drag to launch that company? That company is no longer. Virgin Cinemas, Virgin Cosmetic, Virgin Vodkas, all these companies have failed. Yet, this is his motto. Screw it, let's do it. If you fall flat on your face, pick yourself up again. That's why he has 400 companies and he's worth more than $4 billion. Here's what Richard Branson has done more than you. He has failed more than you. The difference between he and the rest of us is he is willing, and he does it with great glee, and that is to fail more often than the rest of us. As Eleanor Roosevelt said, do something every day that scares you. This is the metric I actually track in my journal before I go to bed. Did I do something today that scared me? So that tomorrow I think about, what can I do today that scares me? Track it. I promise you, you'll become addicted to it. It's like, oh, I got to do that thing that scares me. So instead of being like, oh, I had this shitty thing happen to me, there's like, oh, you won't believe it, man. Oh, I did this thing, I thought it was going to be awesome. I just got totally blown out. It was awesome, right? So, and because you do that, you increase your chances of something incredible happening on the other side of the equation. I remember when I was 8 years old, we were skiing in Heavenly Valley up in Tahoe. And it has that big, they had part of the Olympics there, the gun barrel that comes down the face of it. Well, I skied that, and I'd skied by myself all day. I couldn't wait to tell my dad. I said, Dad, I skied by myself all day long, and I didn't fall down one time. And he looked at me and he said, well, then you didn't get any better. And I was like, what do you mean? And he could tell that I was not getting it. And he said, look, if you don't push yourself, you don't find out where the boundaries of your current skill level are, and you don't fall, you don't get any better. And I've used that philosophy, and this is the one we had painted in big black letters in our garage wall, which was no pain, no gain. And so constantly in life, whether I'm working out, whether I'm pursuing business objectives, I'm looking for the pain. Because where there's the pain is where there is the gain. And since I started out with the story of my father, I'll end it with his final philosophy. My dad passed away a few months ago of bone cancer, and I did his eulogy. And this is the philosophy that sort of sticks with me and lives in me and is, I think, exemplified, that's carrying on his legacy. He said, no matter how talented, experienced, or privileged somebody else is, you can beat anybody at anything. You can accomplish any goal you set your sights on over time. If you are just more consistent than everybody else around you, you will win every race that you run. And so with that, I wish for you to win every race that you run, to the point where maybe one day your picture is inside the pages of Success Magazine. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.